Somewhere in the vast darkness beyond the Milky Way, beyond the stars we see at night, beyond the spiral arms that cradle our home, there is something pulling us, something massive, something hidden, something we cannot see. A force so powerful it is dragging our entire galaxy, the Milky Way, Andromeda, the Virgo cluster, and thousands of galaxies with us, toward a single point in the deep cosmic darkness. Astronomers call it the Great Attractor, and tonight we're going there. Before we begin this journey into the invisible force shaping our cosmic destiny, take a moment to settle in. Feel your breath slow, let your body soften, let your mind drift into the quiet vastness of space. And if you haven't already, tap subscribe to join us here at Theories Before Sleep, where every night we explore the mysteries the universe whispers to those who listen. Now, close your eyes if you'd like, and imagine the Milky Way floating in the dark, a glowing island of stars on a silent cosmic sea. And picture this, we are moving right now, all of us, the entire Earth, the Sun, the solar system, the Milky Way, all being pulled by a gravitational force we cannot see toward a place that shouldn't exist, a place hidden behind a curtain of galaxies, a place wrapped in darkness and mystery, a place powerful enough to reshape the fate of everything we know. Tonight, we travel deeper than we ever have before, beyond visible space, beyond the reach of telescopes, into the heart of the cosmic river that carries all galaxies with it. Welcome to the story of the Great Attractor, the invisible giant that bends space, pulls galaxies, and may be hiding something far stranger than gravity alone. Let's begin. You begin drifting outward, slowly, gently, leaving behind the soft glow of the Milky Way's familiar arms. The galaxy becomes smaller with each breath you take, a great spiraling lantern floating in a silent ocean. And as you rise above it, the universe around you opens wider and wider, until the stars feel like grains of dust scattered across endless night. From up here, the Milky Way looks peaceful, still, perfectly balanced in the deep. But astronomers learned something unexpected, something unsettling. The Milky Way is not still. It's moving, fast, unimaginably fast. You drift along with it, like a passenger on an enormous cosmic ship. The entire galaxy is travelling at over 600 kilometers per second, rushing toward a region of space no one can see. To understand this movement, you glide deeper into the void, into the space between galaxies, and here something strange appears. Galaxies around us seem to stretch. The farther away they are, the faster they move. Their light is stretched into red hues, a cosmic fingerprint of expansion. This discovery was made decades ago, that the universe is growing, expanding in all directions. But as you float in this expanding space, you notice something. The Milky Way is not simply drifting with the flow, it is moving differently. Its path doesn't match the simple expansion of the universe. It curves, angles, bends, as though something is pulling it. You drift beside our galaxy, feeling that pull, a subtle pressure stretching across space. The Milky Way, the Andromeda Galaxy, the Triangulum Galaxy, the entire local group is being drawn toward one direction. And when astronomers pointed their instruments toward that region, they found nothing. Nothing visible, nothing bright, nothing that explains why thousands of galaxies are accelerating toward the same point. You drift along this direction, into the dark zone known as the Zone of Avoidance, a region blocked by the thick dust and starlight of our own Milky Way, hiding anything behind it. It's like trying to see a mountain on the other side of a bright sunrise. The light blinds you, the dust hides the truth. But astronomers were patient. With radio telescopes, infrared surveys and deep cosmic maps, they began to peel back the curtain, revealing something immense, not a star, not a nebula, not a black hole, but a region of gravity, a gravitational anomaly so strong that entire clusters of galaxies are drifting toward it like leaves on a cosmic river. This anomaly is the Great Attractor. And you begin to drift downward now toward the faint region of space that seems to bend everything around it. As you approach, you see galaxies tilting slightly, their velocities increasing as though responding to a distant call. The closer you drift, the faster everything moves. Clusters stretch like threads of light, galaxies twist as if caught in a slow whirlpool. The flow of galaxies is not random. It has shape, direction, purpose. Astronomers call this flow the Laniakea supercluster, a colossal river of galaxies all moving toward the same gravitational basin. And at the center of this basin lies the Great Attractor. But even now, as you begin to feel its gravity, you still cannot see it, because the Great Attractor is not a single object, not a shining beacon or brilliant core. It is a distortion, a pulling, a valley in the fabric of space-time, and you drift right into its influence. Nearby galaxies begin to lean, as though gravity is nudging them into a new direction. And as you drift farther still, you see the first hints of the structure responsible. A dense region of galaxies, clusters and superclusters, packed together in a way that feels unnatural, as though this part of space is heavier than everywhere else. The Norma cluster glows faintly ahead, one of the most massive structures in our region of the universe. Its stars are old, its galaxies are ancient, and the space around it is thick with dark matter, dark energy, and gravitational tides. This cluster is part of the Great Attractor, but only a part. You drift slowly around it, feeling its massive gravity. The light bends subtly. The stars seem to shift. This place is not empty. It is dense. Dense with mass, dense with gravity, dense with unseen structure. But even now, even as the pieces begin falling into place, something feels incomplete. The pull of the Great Attractor is too strong to be explained by the mass we can see. Even the Norma cluster cannot account for it. You drift farther into the deeper regions beyond the visible clusters, and there, something new emerges. A shadow, a deeper valley, a gravitational basin twice as massive as the Great Attractor itself. This structure was discovered recently, and its name captures the mystery, the Shapley supercluster. And suddenly, you understand. The Great Attractor is not just one thing. It is a pathway, a gravitational slope leading towards something even larger. The Milky Way is not falling into a single object. It is travelling down a cosmic river toward the deepest valley in our entire region of the universe. And the Great Attractor is only the first bend in that river. You drift in silence, letting this realization settle around you like stardust. Our galaxy is not stationary. It is not centered. It is not balanced. It is moving with thousands of others, drawn toward a place we still barely understand. A place hidden beneath the glare of the Milky Way. A place wrapped in dark matter and ancient mass. A place that may hold answers to the deepest mysteries of cosmic structure. You float above that region now, a heavy, invisible well in the fabric of reality. There is no light here, no shining center, No star to guide your eyes, just gravity. Just the quiet pulling of space-time. Just the whisper of a deeper structure hidden beneath the dark. And slowly you begin to understand. We are not simply living inside a galaxy. We are travelers on a long cosmic journey, moving through the universe toward a destination we cannot yet see. The Great Attractor is not our enemy. It is not our threat. It is our direction, our flow, our cosmic current. And tonight, you will drift deeper into its mystery. But for now, you rest here, on the edge of the invisible pull, breathing softly, feeling the calm weight of gravity, and letting the first chapter of this journey settle peacefully into your mind. You drift deeper into the region of space where the Great Attractor resides, a place long concealed by the Milky Way's own glow. This region, called the Zone of Avoidance, is one of the most mysterious corridors in the observable universe, and you begin to understand why as you glide through it. The Milky Way's disk is thick and bright. Billions of stars pour golden light across a wide band of sky. Dark lanes of dust stretch like smoke across the brightness. This brilliant plane acts like a curtain, blocking our view of anything behind it. For decades, astronomers could not see what hid in this direction. Their optical telescopes were blinded. It was as though the universe had intentionally placed a veil between us and something important. You drift behind this veil now, moving through layers of dark interstellar dust that obscure the stars beyond it. At first, you see nothing but thick shadows and faint points of light struggling to pierce the murky lanes. But then, as your view shifts into the wavelengths beyond human sight, infrared, microwave, radio, the hidden universe begins to emerge. Like ink dissolving in water, the darkness starts to thin. Shapes appear. Clusters brighten. Galaxies emerge from behind the curtain, and slowly, the region of the Great Attractor reveals itself. You drift toward a group of faint glowing structures that have only recently been mapped. Some of them are small galaxies, lonely but bright. Others are large clusters, massive collections of ancient stars packed tightly together. But something about this region feels different. The light here seems pulled, tugged, as though space itself is leaning in one direction. You follow that direction, the subtle tilt of gravity, and soon you sense the basin of the Great Attractor below you, like a valley of gravity carved into the fabric of space-time. From this vantage point you can see how galaxies move, not randomly, not freely, but along gentle curves, paths shaped by invisible hands. Millions of galaxies are drifting down these curves like leaves on a river. Their motions aren't chaotic. They are organized, structured, guided. And now you begin to see the river itself, a massive flow of cosmic matter, galaxies, clusters, even dark matter, streaming toward the same region. You drift alongside them, watching as they gradually change direction, curving inward toward the gravitational heart of the Great Attractor. It's as if the universe is funneling everything into this location. You glance backward at the Milky Way, a small but beautiful swirl far behind you. It too is drifting along this cosmic river. You feel it in the background, a slow, persistent pull, gently guiding our entire galaxy across the universe. You look ahead now, and the structure known as the Norma Cluster begins to rise from the distant darkness. The Norma Cluster is a gravitational giant, one of the most massive clusters in our local region of space. It sits almost exactly in the direction the Milky Way is moving. You drift closer to the cluster, and its structure begins to sharpen. Dozens of large elliptical galaxies float within it, huge spheres of old starlight shining dimly in the quiet. These galaxies are not like the elegant spirals you know. They are shaped by violence. Galaxy mergers, collisions, and gravitational war over billions of years. Their stars are old, soft in colour and tightly packed. You drift between them, feeling the immense gravity press softly around you, like a deep, heavy breath. The Norma cluster contains enough mass to significantly influence the Milky Way's motion, but even now, being so close, you feel something more. The pull continues beyond it. Something even larger lies ahead. The Great Attractor is not limited to one cluster. It is not a single point or object. It is a region. A combination of multiple massive structures all acting together like a planetary system of gravity. The Norma cluster is only one component. You drift deeper into the gravitational field, watching the space between galaxies distort ever so slightly. Here, gravity takes on a different feel. It is not a force you can see, but a shape in the flow of space. Like water curving around a stone, the galaxies curve around this region. You begin to understand. The Great Attractor is not bright because it does not shine. It is powerful because it pulls. Its gravity is its identity. And yet, something strange starts to appear. As you drift farther from the Norma cluster, the density of galaxies increases. The space ahead of you is crowded, far more crowded than the universe around it. This region is filled with giant elliptical galaxies, luminous clusters, and vast sheets of matter. And at the deepest point of this region lies a structure far more massive than the Great Attractor itself. You feel it before you see it. A deepening in the gravitational field, a stronger slope in the cosmic valley. The galaxies here move faster. The clusters align in curved patterns. The space itself seems to bend. Then, like a mountain rising through fog, the Shapley supercluster emerges. This is one of the largest known structures in the observable universe, and its mass is so enormous that it may be the true reason the Milky Way is moving. The Great Attractor is part of Shapley, a foothill at the base of a cosmic mountain. The supercluster stretches across space like a vast luminous bridge connecting hundreds of galaxies and clusters. You drift above it, slowly rotating, watching its shape unfold. It is not spherical. It is not orderly. It is not a single cluster. It is a continent of galaxies, a gravitational empire larger than anything your mind can fully grasp. And yet, this is what the Milky Way is being pulled toward. Not directly, not in a straight line, but through a long chain of gravitational connections. Suddenly, the Great Attractor makes sense. It was never the destination. It was the first sign of something deeper, the first ripple on the edge of a gravitational ocean, the first whisper of a larger structure hidden beneath the veil. You drift in silence above the Shapley region, watching thousands of galaxies move together like a slow-motion tide. Each galaxy seems small, fragile, temporary, and yet, together, they form one of the largest cosmic structures ever discovered. A structure so massive that it is pulling entire galaxy groups across millions of light years, including ours. You look back at the Milky Way, a tiny swirl of light in the vast distance. It too is part of this movement, part of this drift, part of this cosmic journey. The flow of galaxies is not random. It is sculpted by immense gravitational rivers that stretch farther than any single telescope can see. And tonight, you have drifted to the edge of one of those rivers, the river that carries our galaxy, the river that leads toward the Great Attractor, and beyond it to the Shapley supercluster. You hover there now, quietly, letting the scales settle into you, letting the calm of deep space wrap around your mind, letting the truth of our motion sink into your breath. We're not stationary. We're not alone. We're not drifting aimlessly. We are part of a cosmic flow, a gentle, powerful current that guides galaxies toward ancient structures far beyond our view. And now, you're ready for the final segment of Part 1, where we descend into the valley of the Great Attractor itself. But before you go, you take a slow breath, feeling the weight of gravity, the glow of distant galaxies, and the soft pull of a force older than stars. You drift now toward the deepest part of the gravitational landscape, a region of space where galaxies slow, tilt and curve as though descending a slope you cannot see. The gravity here feels different, not stronger in a sudden way, but heavier, as though space itself has thickened around you. You moved freely outside this valley, but here, your path narrows, gently guided by the contours of invisible mass. The galaxies ahead cluster more tightly, their motions align more clearly, their paths curve toward a single region, the heart of the Great Attractor. As you drift deeper, you notice something unexpected. Space becomes quieter. The scattered background glow of distant galaxies seems to soften, as though light itself is being bent the slightest bit. The clusters around you form a gentle arc, a gravitational bowl sculpted by mass you still cannot see. This valley does not shine, it does not emit heat, it does not glow with the brilliance of newborn stars. It reveals itself only through gravity, the quietest language the universe speaks. You float along the slope, feeling each subtle change in motion, as though space has hands guiding you. And then, you sense it. Before you see anything, before a single galaxy comes into view, you feel the shift, a deepening, a soft pressure, a sense that the space ahead of you is somehow heavier. It is not frightening, just profound. A gravitational presence felt in the curvature of the galaxies around you. The first thing you see is not a cluster or a galaxy, but an absence, a faint wide region where fewer galaxies shine, as though light itself hesitated here. This is the gravitational basin of the Great Attractor. The light isn't gone, it's merely distorted, bent by the mass within the valley. You drift into the basin, and suddenly everything becomes clear. The Great Attractor is not a single object. It is not a star, not a black hole, not a nebula. It is a concentration of mass so immense that its gravitational pull extends across hundreds of millions of light years. And yet, it is spread out, diffuse, layered, hidden beneath the glow of our Milky Way's dust. It is made of massive galaxy clusters, dense groups of galaxies, enormous halos of dark matter, ancient merged galaxies, and structures we still cannot map, all working together to form a gravitational valley, not a point. You drift near one of these massive clusters now, the Norma cluster, a heavy core of galaxies orbiting one another in tight, powerful patterns. Its gravity contributes to the Great Attractor. But even now, as you hover in its shadow, you sense something more. The pull does not stop here. It flows beyond the cluster, beyond the valley, beyond the region that astronomers once thought was the end. You glide downward, following the curve of the fabric of space-time. Galaxies move with you, some swiftly, some gently, all pulled in the same direction. And gradually you realize that the Great Attractor is only the beginning of something larger. The gravitational slope continues, the valley deepens, the flow strengthens. Far ahead, barely visible, is the distant glow of the Shapley supercluster, a cosmic mountain so massive that the Great Attractor is only one step along its gravitational ascent. You drift between these two giants, feeling the way gravity from both wraps around this region. The Great Attractor is the saddle point, a gravitational crossroads between multiple massive structures. Here, space bends from more than one direction. Galaxies do not fall straight. They drift sideways, curve inward, and twist gently as though following an invisible spiral ramp. You float in the center of this gravitational symphony, watching entire clusters move like a slow river. The Milky Way, far behind you, is one of those drifting galaxies. It does not know the reason for its motion. It simply responds to the shape of space-time around it. And now you finally understand what the Great Attractor is. Not a monster, not a hidden black hole, not an object waiting to consume us, but a gravitational gateway in a vast network of cosmic structures, a valley leading to a mountain, a bend in the cosmic river, a stepping stone toward a larger gravitational empire. Our galaxy is not falling into destruction. It is moving with thousands of others in a tide older than the Milky Way itself. As you drift slowly across the basin, you feel the calm weight of this truth. The Great Attractor is not pulling us into danger. It is guiding us along the natural path carved by matter across billions of years. You look back at the galaxies behind you. Their orbits and movements seem more coherent now. You look forward. The distant glow of the Shapley supercluster shines softly, not like a threat, but like a landmark in the deep cosmic night. Finally, you rise gently above the basin, your view widening, your awareness expanding, and the entire shape of the gravitational landscape comes into focus. The Great Attractor is not a place, it is a flow, a region, a gravitational contour in the fabric of reality, and the Milky Way is part of that flow. You drift in silence, letting the knowledge rest softly in your mind, like starlight settling on calm water. You exhale, the galaxy flows, the universe breathes, gravity guides. You drift now above the vast region of space that surrounds the Great Attractor, a landscape not made of mountains or oceans or clouds, but of galaxies, thousands of them, millions of them, each one a glowing island of billions of stars, and yet they are not scattered randomly. From this quiet vantage point you see something remarkable. The galaxies flow, not like particles drifting without purpose, not like dust tossed in the wind, but like water, moving together along gentle curved paths. The universe, in its deepest structure, contains rivers. Rivers made of galaxies, rivers guided by invisible gravitational valleys and ridges shaped by mass we can see and mass we cannot. You drift into one of these rivers now, a long, wide stream of star systems extending across hundreds of millions of light years. This river has a name, Laniakea, meaning immense heaven. It is our home supercluster, a structure so large that the Milky Way is only a tiny droplet inside its flow. You begin floating down this river, following the movement of thousands of galaxies. Some are large, some are faint, some are ancient ovals of old stars, some are spirals with magnificent blue arms, yet all of them move in harmony. Their motions are not random, they are synchronized by gravity. You glide gently between these galaxies, feeling their slow drift toward the same destination, a gravitational basin in the direction of the Great Attractor. But Laniakea is not flat. It is shaped like a vast basin, a cosmic bowl tilted at an angle. Galaxies on the edges curve inward. Those in the center descend more steeply. Those near the Great Attractor move more quickly. Everything here follows the curvature of space-time. You drift upward to see the entire structure, a bowl of galaxies flowing down toward a single, gravitational low point, like rainwater running down the curved surface of the Earth. The Milky Way is just one small stream within this larger river, and yet the flow is not uniform. Some galaxies drift faster, some slower, some move along a smooth, curved slope. Others follow twisting paths as though navigating around invisible obstacles. These obstacles are not objects, they are voids. You drift near one now, an enormous dark region of space. Voids are not empty in the way you might imagine. They contain dust, dark matter, and a few wandering galaxies. But compared to the river, they are almost silent. Galaxies flow around these voids the way streams on Earth flow around rocks. The voids shape the rivers. They sculpt the highways of galaxy motion. And now, with this view, you begin to understand the universe is not made of isolated galaxies. It is made of structures, massive webs of clusters, filaments, and voids. The Great Attractor is not a single magnet. It is one node in a network of gravitational forces that guide cosmic flow. You drift along a filament now, a glowing thread connecting clusters like beads on a cosmic necklace. These filaments are the highways of the universe. They stretch across unimaginable distances, carrying galaxies like cosmic ships sailing on gravitational winds. As you float, you see how galaxies within the filament align themselves. Their velocities point along the thread. Their positions trace the same gentle curve. It is as though each galaxy is following a road laid out billions of years before it was born. You drift deeper into one of the major filaments feeding the Great Attractor. Here, the galaxies are more numerous. The density increases. The flow speeds up. Clusters cling to these filaments like lanterns lighting the path. Some of these clusters shine brighter, full of young stars and glowing dust. Others are dim and ancient. But all of them are moving together, drawn along the gravitational slope toward the basin. You glide over a cluster called Pervo Indus, a massive collection of galaxies whose gravity adds weight to the river's direction. It is one of the tributaries of the Great Attractor, a branch feeding into the main flow. Farther ahead, you see the Centaurus supercluster, another bright region connected to the same basin. Piece by piece, the structure forms in your mind. Laniakea is a vast gravitational continent. The Great Attractor is one of its deepest valleys, and we, the Milky Way, are drifting along a gentle slope into that valley. But something else begins to reveal itself as you float farther. Laniakea is not isolated. It touches other superclusters. It connects to larger structures. It feeds into a network of gravitational flows across the visible universe. Rivers of galaxies interweave, branch, merge, and diverge. The Great Attractor is merely one intersection in this larger system. You drift upward for a wider view, and the cosmic web comes into focus. Filaments stretch across the universe like luminous threads. Clusters glow where threads meet. Voids fill the spaces between. It is not chaotic. It is structured, elegant, alive in a way that defies emptiness. The Great Attractor is part of this web, a deeper section of the gravitational lattice. As you float closer to the center of this massive flow, you begin to feel the complexity of the forces involved. Gravity from nearby clusters, gravity from dark matter halos, gravity from distant superclusters that subtly tug on everything. Galaxies follow these forces the way leaves follow water currents, and in this river, you feel the direction clearly, toward the gravitational heart of the Great Attractor region, toward the valley in space-time that guides everything. You drift through the soft glow of billions of stars and faint dust clouds, your motion smooth, soundless, guided by invisible hands. And as you settle into the flow of Laniakea, you understand the truth. We are not simply living in the Milky Way. We are moving within a structure so vast that it redefines what home means. Laniakea is our cosmic continent. The Great Attractor is the core of its valley. And the journey of our galaxy is part of a motion that began long before the sun was born. You breathe softly, feeling the quiet rhythm of the cosmic river carrying you deeper toward the next chapter of this immense journey. You drift deeper into the cosmic river of Laniakea, and slowly, a realization settles into your mind. Motion is not an accident. The galaxies around you do not wander without purpose. They move in patterns, consistent, ancient, carved by the invisible architecture of gravity and dark matter. You glide above a long filament, a slender bridge of galaxies spanning hundreds of millions of light years. At first glance it looks chaotic. Galaxies of different shapes, sizes, and ages float together through space. But as you tilt your perspective, the structure sharpens. You see alignment, direction, order. Every galaxy is stretched slightly in the direction of motion. Every cluster leans toward a deeper valley. Every stream curves naturally into the same gravitational direction. It is like watching leaves floating down a slow river. Each leaf has its own shape, its own path, its own speed, but all share the same destination. You drift between these galaxies, feeling the subtle pressure of the gravitational flow. A current without sound, without wind. Gravity has no surface, it has no texture. It does not push or pull in the way you expect. Instead, it shapes space itself. And the galaxies simply follow the shape. You glide above a dense grouping of galaxies, a cluster embedded within the filament. Some of these galaxies are massive spirals with bright blue arms. Others are small dwarfs with faint, humble glows. But when you look closely, you notice something strange. Though they all orbit within the cluster's gravity, their combined motion still points in the direction of the Great Attractor. The cluster's internal dance is only a detail within a greater journey. It is like standing in a swirling eddy on a river. You may move in small circles, but the entire body of water is drifting downstream. The galaxies orbit one another, but the cluster drifts as a whole. You drift farther along and pass over an enormous cosmic void, a region so wide it takes millions of years for light to cross it. The void is darker than the rest of space. Its edges are sharply defined by the glowing walls of galaxies that surround it. This void pushes the flow of galaxies along its boundary, guiding motion around its emptiness. The shape of the universe is determined as much by what is present as what is missing. The universe's skeleton is carved by voids and filaments alike. Galaxies move around emptiness the way rivers flow around mountains. You drift along the outer edge of this void, feeling the subtle curvature of space-time beneath you. Here, the gravitational pull from the great attractor and its neighbouring structures begins to strengthen. Galaxies move more quickly. Their velocities become more aligned, their tendencies more predictable, and still, the structure remains invisible. Gravity itself is the only guide. You turn your awareness toward the distant region where the great attractor rests. From here, you cannot see it directly. There are no bright stars or glowing nebulae marking its position. Instead, you see movement. The galaxies in this part of the sky lean inward as though responding to a silent command. Their motions have a rhythm, slow, subtle, but unified. You drift beside a galaxy moving slightly faster than the others. Its spiral arms are stretched gently by the cosmic current. Dust lanes trail behind it like smoke in a soft breeze. This galaxy feels the slope of space-time more clearly than the ones above the void. Its descent into the gravitational valley is more pronounced. As you watch, you feel the shape of the cosmic river guiding you deeper. It is not a straight line. It twists gently, curving around voids, bending toward massive clusters, responding to the distribution of matter seen and unseen. The motion of galaxies is like a dance, not choreographed but shaped by the natural terrain of the universe, and the terrain is made of gravity. In this quiet moment, you realize something profound. Motion is the universe's way of revealing its structure. Galaxies do not drift without meaning. Their motion traces the outlines of dark matter halos and cosmic filaments. Their velocities map the deep curves of space-time. Their flow tells the story of where the universe wants them to go. You drift again above the filament and see something even more surprising. The Milky Way is not isolated in its journey toward the great attractor. It belongs to a much larger system of movement. The local group, a cluster of galaxies containing the Milky Way, Andromeda, and dozens of smaller companions, is itself drifting within Laniakea. But Laniakea is drifting too. It is being pulled toward the great attractor. And the great attractor is being pulled toward Shapley. And Shapley is being tugged by even larger structures beyond our current view. Motion is layered. Galaxies move inside clusters. Clusters move inside filaments. Filaments move inside superclusters. Superclusters move inside even larger regions of gravitational influence. Each motion is part of a bigger motion. Each journey is inside another journey. You drift back toward the center of the cosmic river, watching the galaxies flow past you. Here, the direction is unmistakable. All motion converges toward the same region. The great attractor is not a destination. It is a signpost, a waypoint in the deeper river that extends beyond it. You feel the gravity growing gently as you approach the region of fastest flow. Galaxies here move like threads pulled taut. Their motion is smoother, more unified. It is as though you are approaching a waterfall, not of water, but of space-time. The slope increases, the current strengthens, and you realize this entire region is one massive gravitational funnel, guiding galaxies downward into the valley of the great attractor. But the valley does not end there. It continues. The gravitational slope deepens far beyond the Norma cluster, far beyond the zone of avoidance, far beyond the region we used to call the great attractor. Everything flows toward a deeper point, the Shapley supercluster. You drift in silence, feeling the weight of this truth. The great attractor is not the cause of the Milky Way's motion. It is part of the path, part of the slope, part of the terrain, a chapter in a larger story, a scene in a much bigger map. The true forces guiding our galaxy lie beyond, farther into the future, farther down the river, farther into the cosmic night. You rest here, on the edge of the gravitational rapids, and you breathe softly, letting everything settle into calm understanding. You drift now into the region where the cosmic river narrows. The galaxies around you begin to move with greater purpose, as if the invisible hand guiding them has become stronger, more defined. The currents are no longer subtle, they are gentle but unmistakable. Everything is moving toward the same horizon. You hover in silence as a spiral galaxy passes beneath you. Its arms are stretched slightly, not by rotation, but by motion. The entire galaxy is leaning, tilting, responding to the shape of space-time beneath it. Its stars move like grains of sand sliding down a shallow curved slope. You drift alongside it, watching the stars within its arms circle their center, while the whole galaxy glides smoothly down the cosmic incline. This movement does not feel chaotic or rushed. It feels natural, like the universe is exhaling slowly, letting gravity carry everything forward. A cluster of galaxies appears ahead, a sparkling island of ancient light. Each galaxy within the cluster has its own internal motion, but the cluster itself drifts as one body, and the direction is always the same. You hover above it and watch for moments that stretch softly into time. Galaxies rise and fall, shift and settle, moving gently along their curved paths. Nothing collides, nothing rushes. The flow is too slow for violence and too organized for chaos. This movement is the universe's handwriting, a script written in gravity. And we, the Milky Way, the local group, every star you've ever seen, are letters in that script. The cosmic river is not just a structure, it is a message about the nature of reality. You drift closer to the center of the flow. Here, the gravitational influence is stronger, but not oppressive. It does not feel like falling, it feels like belonging, like being drawn towards something that has always been part of you. A massive arch of galaxies stretches across the dark, a bridge shaped by gravitational tides. You glide beneath it, your path illuminated by the glow of distant star systems. The flow is tighter here. Galaxies move with greater alignment. The paths become clearer, the direction more obvious. Everything is being pulled toward the basin of the great attractor. But rather than seeing it as a threat, you sense its purpose. A gravitational valley is not a predator. It is a possibility. Gravity does not chase, it invites. You drift deeper into the valley, and the space around you feels heavier, not physically, but in meaning. This region is a meeting point for the motions of thousands of galaxies, a place where velocities converge, a place where trajectories align, a place where the universe reveals its larger plan. You hover at the crest of the gravitational slope, watching as galaxies descend into the flow. It is beautiful, like watching sunlight spill across a landscape you never knew existed. The river widens again ahead of you, but its direction remains steady. The great attractor lies at its center, a hidden valley beneath the dust of the Milky Way. And further beyond it, the Shapley supercluster beckons with a gravity even deeper. Everything you've seen so far leads to this moment, the realization that gravity is not simply a force, it is an architecture, a blueprint, a quiet guiding hand that shapes the entire universe. You drift into a region where galaxies are more densely packed. Their light overlaps, creating soft waves of cosmic glow. This region is the gravitational heart of the flow. Here, the structure of space-time curves noticeably but gently, like the surface of a gigantic bowl. You cannot see the shape directly, you only see its effect. Galaxies move along curves that reveal the outline of the valley. Cluster by cluster, filament by filament, the valley deepens. It points toward the Great Attractor. It continues toward Shapley, and even beyond that, toward structures we have not yet discovered. The river never truly ends. You realize now that motion is the universe's way of mapping itself. Galaxies trace the contour of the cosmic landscape through their movement, and you are floating within that map. You drift deeper, feeling a shift in the quiet around you. The gravitational pull from the Great Attractor is stronger now, not in a way that creates fear, but in a way that creates focus. The valley ahead is clear, defined, purposeful. Everything moves toward it. The structure of the universe resembles not a random scattering of galaxies, but an interconnected system of gravitational watersheds, rivers that lead to basins, basins that lead to deeper basins, and somewhere far ahead, a central region that gathers the motion of entire superclusters. Your journey continues into this delicate web. A filament curves around you, glowing softly like a cosmic ribbon. You drift through it, feeling the gravitational currents guiding your motion. And as you pass beyond the filament, you see them, the branches, multiple gravitational flows merging into the same direction. Each branch contains thousands of galaxies. Each branch represents a different region of Laniakea, and all branches converge toward the Great Attractor. It is like watching the arms of a galaxy spiral inward toward the center, except here the galaxy is a supercluster, and the center is not a shining star, but a gravitational valley hidden behind dust and darkness. You drift toward the convergence point, feeling the quiet harmony of merged motion. The galaxies around you move with unity, a cosmic choir following the same rhythm. No voices speak, no winds blow, no waves crash. The river is silent, but the silence is full of meaning, full of connection, full of the slow, ancient motion that binds galaxies across billions of years. You watch as the flow narrows, guiding all motion toward the region where part 3 of this story will take you. A place where gravity is not just a force, but a landscape you can feel. You take a soft breath. The river carries you. The valley invites you. The universe unfolds around you. And part 2 comes to a quiet, gentle rest. You drift now toward the region where the cosmic river meets its deepest bend. The galaxies around you no longer just drift. They lean. They curve. They adjust their orientation as though the space itself beneath them is falling away. You have reached the upper slope of the Great Attractor's valley. It is not a place with edges or borders or walls. It is a change in the way motion feels. The galaxies ahead seem to move with quiet urgency. Not faster, but more aligned, guided more clearly. As you drift forward, the flow carries you toward an unseen center hidden behind the Milky Way's bright plane. You cannot see the center yet, but you feel it. In the tilt of starlight, the slow compression of orbits, the curve of entire clusters as they drift inward like petals leaning toward sunlight. The valley deepens, not sharply, not suddenly, but gracefully, as though gravity is gradually gathering its strength. You drift past a magnificent spiral galaxy tilting toward the slope. Its arms shimmer with scattered star-forming regions, but the galaxy's motion is unmistakable. It is descending. Every star inside it, every cluster, every molecule is being gently guided toward the same region of space. This motion is not destructive. It is natural, like a river finding its course. You hover above the galaxy, watching it glide along the curvature of space-time. For a moment, it feels as though you're watching your own Milky Way from the outside. Because our galaxy is doing the same thing. You're drifting down the very slope that the Milky Way is navigating, and the deeper you go, the clearer the valley becomes. Clusters grow tighter, filaments pull inward, galaxies curve gently toward the basin. The invisible hand of gravity is no longer delicate. It is confident, not harsh, not forceful, but present. You drift closer to the thick band of dust that hides the center of the Great Attractor. This region, seen from Earth, is blocked by the Milky Way's own light. But here, floating above it, you are not blinded. The dust glows faintly with reflected starlight, like fog illuminated by a distant lantern. Behind that fog is the gravitational core, the place astronomers spent decades trying to uncover, the place that bends the paths of galaxies, the place that misled the early maps of cosmic motion because its light was veiled. The Great Attractor is not luminous. It does not shimmer like a star cluster or shine like a quasar. It reveals itself only through gravity. It is a basin in the curvature of space, and you are now descending into it. As you drift farther, you notice something strange. The galaxies around the valley floor are not chaotic. They do not crash into each other. Despite the gravitational pull, the distances between them remain vast. Gravity here moves everything, but gently. It does not yank, it guides, it does not crush, it shapes. This valley is not a trap, it is a terrain. Just as rivers flow into oceans without violence, galaxies flow into gravitational basins through curves shaped over billions of years. You drift above a small chain of galaxies moving toward the basin in single-file motion. They resemble a procession, a cosmic line arranged by gravity itself. Each galaxy responds to the curvature of space-time with perfect adherence. Their paths are parallel, their distances remain constant, their velocities adjust gently as they approach the deeper slope. It is choreography without a choreographer, a dance guiding entire galaxies without sound, without pressure, without intention, only gravity. You drift downward with the procession, your awareness widening to take in the larger scene. The valley is far larger than the cluster that sits within it. The Norma cluster glows nearby, a massive ball of old galaxies bound tightly by their mutual gravity. It is one piece of the Great Attractor, but the basin is larger still. It extends far beyond Norma, a broad depression in the gravitational landscape that pulls from all sides. Dark matter fills much of this region, smoothing and deepening the valley in ways we cannot see. Only through motion can its shape be mapped. You drift slowly past the Norma cluster's edge. Galaxies here seem to tumble inward like leaves spiraling gently toward the surface of a still pond. But they do not collide. Their paths are spaced perfectly by cosmic scales. You hover above the region astronomers believe to be the core area of the Great Attractor. You expect to see something dramatic, a swirling vortex, a brilliant beacon, a monstrous black hole. But there is none. The Great Attractor shines no brighter than the galaxies around it. Its mass is spread out, diffuse, layered. It is not a single object, it is a region, a gravitational well formed by the dense Norma cluster surrounding galaxy groups, large halos of dark matter, and the unseen scaffolding of the cosmic web. Together, these structures form a basin deep enough to guide the motion of entire superclusters. You drift into the deepest point of this basin, and here, something remarkable happens. The direction of motion changes, not abruptly but subtly, as though you have reached the bottom of one slope and discovered that the terrain continues downward in a new direction. This is the moment astronomers realized the Great Attractor was not the final destination. Because even here, at the deepest point of this valley, there is still a pull, a new direction, a deeper slope, a path leading away from the Great Attractor toward something larger. The galaxies curve again, the entire river shifting direction. The Great Attractor was only a bend in the larger gravitational flow. The true destination lies beyond, the Shapley supercluster, one of the largest and most massive structures in the observable universe. You hover there, in the quiet center of the Great Attractor's valley, and feel the motion change around you. The cosmic river continues, the descent deepens, and you understand that the Great Attractor is not an ending. It is a waypoint, a guidepost in the universe's gravitational geography, a clue in the architecture of cosmic motion. You take a soft breath. The galaxies flow past you, the valley deepens beneath you, and the universe unfolds its pathways one by one. You drift now at the lowest point of the Great Attractor's valley, a region of space so massive yet so quietly spread that its presence doesn't announce itself with light, only motion. Here, galaxies curve in graceful arcs as though following the slope of a vast cosmic plane. But as you hover there, something curious happens. The flow does not stagnate, it does not slow to a halt. Instead, it changes direction. The galaxies continue past the basin, their paths bending smoothly toward a new orientation. It is like watching a river that reaches a wide lake, only to find another channel leading away from the far shore. The Great Attractor is not the lake, it is the fork. You glide gently through this turning point, feeling the motion shift beneath you. A new gravitational pull whispers from beyond, soft, distant, but unmistakably stronger than what the Great Attractor can provide alone. The galaxies hear that whisper, and they obey. Their trajectories bend in unison, following the deeper slope of space-time. You look forward, and a faint glow begins to grow in the distant darkness. Not bright, not in the way a star or quasar shines, but broad, wide, extended, like a hazy continent of galaxies rising slowly from the night. This glow belongs to one of the largest gravitational structures in the known universe, the Shapley supercluster. Its mass is overwhelming. Its influence extends across hundreds of millions of light years. The Great Attractor is merely the first ripple in Shapley's gravitational ocean. You drift toward it, feeling the cosmic map rearrange itself in your awareness. Everything you have floated through, the filaments, the rivers, the clusters, was shaped by this larger force. The Milky Way is not falling toward a threat. It is drifting toward the deepest valley of our region of the universe. But the valley is not empty. It is filled with structure. You float above a field of galaxies swept into glowing patterns, strings, arches, walls, of light stretching across immeasurable distances. These structures merge gradually, forming the outer arms of Shapley. The flow of galaxies here is more confident, the direction more defined. Gravity, so faint and patient on the scales of stars, becomes unmistakable when acting on superclusters. You drift closer, and the structures grow magnificent. Elliptical galaxies, huge, smooth, spherical cities of ancient stars, shine like lanterns in the cosmic dark. Each one contains trillions of stars. Each one has survived billions of years of mergers and collisions, and all of them drift together toward the central region of Shapley. You glide past an enormous elliptical galaxy, a golden sphere with long shells of faint stars orbiting it like whispering ghosts. Its motion is slow but firm. Its trajectory leads deeper into the gravitational empire. As you drift beside it, you sense its history. It was once a spiral galaxy, like the Milky Way, but countless mergers smoothed it out into a glowing, rounded mass. It is old, quiet, heavy with stars, and even something so massive cannot resist Shapley's pull. You continue forward, passing through a region of heightened density. A cluster of clusters, a gathering of galaxies so immense that each one feels like a single grain of sand in a cosmic desert. This space here is thick with starlight. Clusters overlap in the distance. Filaments twist into one another. Entire groups move like schools of fish in a cosmic tide. And yet, it is silent. No sound, no wind, no turbulence, only motion. Motion that reveals the architecture of the universe. Motion that maps the shape of invisible matter. Motion that points to a deeper center. You drift closer to the densest region of this supercluster, and the gravity feels different. Not stronger in a painful sense, but heavier. As though space-time has weight, you do not fall, you glide, smoothly, effortlessly, drawn by a slope so gentle it took millions of years to form. This is the true power of the Shapley supercluster, not in light, not in temperature, not in radiation, in gravity. Gravity that spans entire regions of the cosmic web. Gravity that shapes the destiny of thousands of galaxies. Gravity that whispers through the dark and guides everything toward a deeper valley. You drift to a high vantage point hovering above the brightest region of Shapley's core. The galaxies here are densely packed. Their halos merge subtly. Their motions echo one another. You see the Great Attractor from a new perspective. Far behind you now, just one gentle dip in a larger slope. It was never the mountain. It was the foothill, the first sign, the first clue, the first ripple in Shapley's gravitational sea. And suddenly, you understand the cosmic architecture. The universe is not a flat sheet with galaxies scattered randomly. It is a landscape, a terrain of gravity with hills, valleys, mountain ranges and plains. The Great Attractor is a valley, Shapley is a mountain, and the Milky Way is a traveller moving across that terrain. You drift slowly downward into the glowing meadow of galaxies below, watching their slow dance as they respond to the deeper pull. Their paths are not chaotic. They bend in gentle spirals and arcs. The arcs align, and in their alignment you see the gravitational map of this region of the cosmos. Even dark matter, unseen, silent, makes its presence known in the motion of the galaxies. You drift deeper still, through regions of space where clusters merge into superclusters, and superclusters merge into something even larger. The Laniakea supercluster feels small now, a tributary feeding a larger structure. Shapley is the basin into which this river descends. Yet Shapley itself is not alone. Its gravitational reach touches neighbouring superclusters. Its structures interlock with other massive formations. Its influence is part of a larger pattern, and you begin to see the cosmic web not as a static network, but as a flowing system. Gravity connects everything. Gravity moves everything. Gravity sculpts everything. You take a slow breath as galaxies drift beneath your feet like lanterns floating on deep water. You rest there at the quiet, letting the immensity softly settle around you. You, the viewer, the traveller, are part of a universe in motion, a motion guided by vast landscapes of unseen mass, a motion older than the Earth, older than the Sun, older than the Milky Way itself. You drift on the edge of this gravitational empire, ready to descend deeper into the structures that hold everything together. The great attractor was only the threshold. Shapley is the realm beyond. You drift now deeper into the glowing tapestry of the Shapley supercluster, a place where motion is no longer just something you see, but something you feel. Gravity here is not dramatic, not violent, not the monstrous force we imagine when we think of black holes or star collisions. It is gentle, patient, soft, a slow, steady pull spreading across hundreds of millions of light years. You glide between ancient galaxies, smooth elliptical forms drifting in quiet procession, and feel the presence of dark matter around you. You cannot see it, but its shape is written in the stars. These galaxies would not hold together without it. They would not drift in such elegant arcs. They would not move as though following a carefully sculpted path. Dark matter is the underlying terrain of this region, a vast unseen landscape shaping every motion. Where it gathers, gravity deepens. Where it thins, gravity softens. And in Shapley, the dark matter is gathered in enormous halos, massive enough to pull galaxies from across the cosmos. You drift through one of these halos now, an invisible mountain in the fabric of reality. Nothing around you glows, nothing flashes, nothing crackles with energy, and yet it is there, a presence, a weight, a curvature you can sense in the way galaxies move around you. Dark matter is silent, but its silence defines the universe. The luminous galaxies are only tracers, fireflies drifting in the shape of something much larger. You float through the region where the Shapley supercluster begins to tighten, its galaxies pulled inward by one of the most massive dark matter concentrations in the observable cosmos. The arcs of motion become more pronounced. Galaxies lean into the slope, clusters follow deeper curves, filaments bend and twist like ribbons drawn toward a hidden center. This motion is not chaotic. It is coordinated on a scale human minds are not built to comprehend. And yet here, in the stillness of the cosmic night, you understand it with perfect clarity. The universe is not random. It is sculpted, quietly, slowly, beautifully, by the gravity of unseen structures. You drift farther and sense the influence of an even larger region. Shapley is not alone. Its gravitational field overlaps with neighbouring superclusters, the Horologium Reticulum region, the Hydra Centaurus complex, and others stretching beyond the limits of vision. Their combined gravity shapes the motion of galaxies across a volume of space so vast it defies imagination. You hover at a point where multiple gravitational flows intersect, like currents meeting in a quiet ocean. Here, the patterns of motion are extraordinarily complex. Some galaxies curve inward sharply, drawn down the deepest slope. Others begin wide arcs, turning slowly as they feel the influence of multiple structures. The cosmic web tightens and relaxes in different regions, creating a network of gravitational avenues. You drift along one of these avenues, a filament connecting Shapley to another massive region. The galaxies here are fainter, older, stretched thin by billions of years of tidal forces. Their halos blend into the darkness like ripples in a still pond. As you glide through, you see how motion reveals meaning. The universe is not static. It is not fixed. It is not frozen. It breathes in gravitational cycles. It flows like a quiet ocean. It shifts in patterns that take billions of years to unfold. Our galaxy is part of that breath, part of that flow, part of that cycle. The Milky Way is not falling through space randomly. It is following the deeper terrain of the cosmic landscape, a landscape carved by mass, dark matter, and structures far beyond our immediate sight. You drift now toward a magnificent feature, a gravitational ridge between two superclusters. Galaxies here move in opposite directions depending on which side of the ridge they occupy. It is like watching two rivers flowing on either side of a mountain range. Gravity shapes this boundary. On one side, galaxies descend toward Shapley's core. On the other, they drift toward a neighbouring basin. You hover at the crest of this gravitational ridge and look out. The cosmic web stretches in all directions, a shimmering network of light and darkness. Filaments thread across the void like silver veins. Clusters glow like lanterns anchoring the darkness. Voids open like silent meadows between the strands. This is the architecture of the universe, a structure that cannot be seen with human eyes, but can be felt in the motion of galaxies. The Great Attractor is simply one feature within this map. Shapley is one of its continents. The cosmic web is its terrain. You drift downward from the ridge and follow the gentle slope toward the densest region of Shapley's core. Here, the galaxy density is astonishing. Light overlaps light. Halos blend into halos. Dark matter forms a deep well in space-time. The entire region feels like a gravitational heartbeat, slow, steady, powerful. You feel the pull not as a force but as a direction, a natural guidance, a gentle invitation. Every galaxy within this region is responding to the same call, the same valley, the same future. Even the Milky Way from far behind you is part of this motion. Its stars, its planets, its spiral arms, all drifting down the slope of cosmic history. You drift through the glowing river of galaxies, feeling the quiet unity of their paths, and you realize the universe is a single system, every galaxy a participant, every supercluster a node, every motion a piece of the larger dance. The Great Attractor was the first mystery, Shapley is the second. But beyond Shapley lies an even deeper truth. The universe moves as one, not toward one point, not toward a cosmic center, but as part of a dynamic structure still unfolding. This motion is not dangerous. It is not destructive. It is a sign that the universe is alive with direction. You drift slowly to the edge of Shapley's deepest region, watching galaxies cascade gently downward, like embers floating through water. And you know that the unseen forces shaping this motion will be the focus of the next chapter. You drift now in the soft glow of Shapley's outskirts, a region where light feels scattered and ancient, yet the pull of gravity continues with quiet certainty. Up to now, you have followed the motion of galaxies, their slow descent into gravitational valleys, their elegant curves, their synchronized drift across unimaginable distances. But movement is only half the story. To understand why the universe moves the way it does, you must understand what shapes it. And here, in the deep stillness between galaxies, you begin to sense the presence of the universe's greatest sculptor, dark matter. You cannot see it. You cannot touch it. There is no glow, no shadow, no signal that reveals its form. Yet everything around you, every galaxy, every cluster, every filament, exists because of it. Dark matter is the framework around which the universe was built. And now, floating in this quiet depth of the cosmic web, you can finally perceive its influence, not visually, but through motion. You watch as a small galaxy cluster drifts beneath you, its galaxies orbit in tight circles, moving faster than their visible mass can account for. Something unseen is holding them together. A halo. A vast, invisible cloud of dark matter surrounds them, billions of times more massive than all the stars inside the cluster. The cluster's motion is not random. It follows the curvature of this invisible halo. Gravity from dark matter is the architect of the cluster's shape. Everything visible is simply draped over the structure beneath. You drift closer, and something even more profound appears. The dark matter is not isolated, it connects. The halos of different clusters blend into one another, forming long bridges, filaments that anchor galaxies along defined paths. These filaments are the bones of the cosmic web. Galaxies are merely the lights hanging from them. You float above one such filament now. It stretches like a narrow highway through the blackness. But the light you see is only the surface. The dark matter beneath it is thicker, wider, a great river of invisible mass guiding the galaxies as they flow. The light is delicate. The structure is immense. Dark matter creates the terrain. Gravity guides the motion. Galaxies follow both. You drift even closer, and the sensation of the dark matter landscape deepens. Everywhere around you, space contains subtle curves, gentle depressions, smooth ridges, soft inclines, all created by the distribution of dark matter. To the human eye, the universe looks empty, but here, in the presence of dark matter, you see that the emptiness is full of structure. The great rivers of galaxies flow through valleys sculpted by mass that does not shine. Dark matter is silent. Dark matter is invisible. Dark matter is patient. And yet, dark matter holds the universe together. Without it, galaxies would unravel, clusters would drift apart, filaments would collapse, the cosmic web would dissolve. The universe would become a scattering of stars in a vast, unstructured void. You drift deeper toward a region where gravity from Shapley's massive core intensifies. Here, dark matter halos overlap so tightly that their combined pull creates a massive gravitational sink. The great attractor is a small slope compared to this basin. Shapley is the mountain. Dark matter is the mountain's foundation. You drift along the contours of this unseen landscape, watching galaxies trace its edges. Their motion is like ink revealing the lines of an invisible drawing. A spiral galaxy passes beneath you, its bright arms curving gracefully. But the curve is not random. It follows a subtle groove in the dark matter below. The shape of the invisible defines the path of the visible. You glide further inward, noticing how clusters behave differently when embedded within massive halos. Instead of drifting independently, they fall into shared patterns. Clusters orbit clusters. Superclusters orbit deeper regions in the web. Everything is nested. Everything is layered. Everything is responding to mass. This is the deeper truth. The universe is not controlled by what we see. It is controlled by what we cannot. You drift into the densest region of this inner landscape. Dark matter is not uniform here. It forms peaks and valleys, pits and plateaus, each guiding the cosmic motion in precise ways. Galaxies are boats. Dark matter is the ocean. The visible universe is just the surface. You float higher to take in the totality of this gravitational terrain. From this vantage point, the cosmic web looks like a living system. Threads pulsing softly with motion, clusters glowing like neural nodes, rivers of galaxies flowing along the strongest contours. And the great attractor is one of the deepest bowls in this system, a region where dark matter has pooled over billions of years. But it is not the deepest. Shapley is deeper still, and beyond Shapley lie structures that have yet to be fully mapped, regions that might dwarf even this supercluster. You realize now that motion is a language, and dark matter is the grammar. Every movement is a sentence, every galaxy a word, every cluster a paragraph in an ancient story still unfolding. You drift downward into the soft glow of Shapley's heart, feeling the valley pull you deeper. Here, dark matter's influence is overwhelming. Galaxies move cleanly along predictable arcs. Clusters drift into ordered formations. Filaments stretch taut between gravitational anchors. It is not chaos. It is not randomness. It is harmony. The universe following the shape of its invisible bones. You hover in silence as the galaxies continue their descent. There is no rush, no urgency, no seconds ticking away. Only time on the scale of billions of years. Only motion on the scale of superclusters. Only gravity on the scale of the cosmos. You take a quiet breath. This is the architecture of the universe. Visible stars painting the outlines of invisible structure. Luminous galaxies following silent rivers of mass. And dark matter, the great sculptor, shaping everything in patient, endless stillness. You drift now into a region where the quiet becomes thicker, as if the darkness itself has a texture. Soft, velvety, full of a subtle weight that your senses can't quite name. It is here, in this calm and endless place, that the true structure of the universe begins to reveal itself. The galaxies you saw earlier, glowing like lanterns scattered across the night, were only the decorations. The lights hung on a framework so much larger than anything visible to the human eye. Now, floating within the core of the Shapley supercluster's gravitational field, you begin to sense that invisible framework. Dark matter. Not a substance, not a gas or a cloud, not a particle you can hold or a shadow you can catch, but a presence, a hidden landscape shaping everything around you. You drift through it, and although it leaves no footprints, its influence is everywhere. A chain of galaxies moves beneath you, each one following the same arc, the same lean, the same gravitational line. You watch them from above. Spirals, ovals, ancient smooth spheres, all gliding through space as if someone carved a path for each of them. But there was no carving. There was no hand, no artist, no architect. Only dark matter gathered through the ages, pulling gently on every particle of light. It is quiet in a way that feels infinite. Quiet in a way that feels like truth. Dark matter halos wrap around clusters like enormous invisible cocoons. Some extend millions of light years beyond the glowing stars that outline their edges. The galaxies inside look delicate, small fires burning within enormous caverns. You float above one halo now. It stretches wider than an entire group of galaxies combined. a silent mountain of mass hidden in plain sight. The galaxies inside it do not move randomly. They orbit its invisible peak, circling like planets around a hidden sun. If dark matter were suddenly erased, the entire cluster would scatter into the void within a single cosmic breath. Dark matter is the glue of the universe, the skeleton, the map, and everything luminous follows its design. You glide forward, moving into a region where several dark matter halos merge together. Their boundaries blur, overlapping like ripples on a pond. Where they meet, galaxy filaments form, long thin highways stretching across space. You hover above one such filament. It is faint, lit only by the soft glow of the galaxies suspended within it. But beneath the glow, you sense the mass. A river of dark matter flowing through the void. The galaxies are passengers, carried along by a current they cannot see. This filament extends hundreds of millions of light years. From one supercluster to another, it binds the universe into a single web, a cosmic nervous system, a lattice of gravity, a silent architecture. You drift slowly along the length of the filament, feeling how it gently curves, never rigid, never straight, just like a river finding the easiest path through a landscape no human has ever walked. Clusters sit along it like beads on a string. Each cluster is a small world of stars. Each bead is a gateway to another region of the universe, and all of them are connected by this unseen spine. You descend toward the deepest part of the Shapley supercluster's structure. Here, the dark matter density is even greater. The curvature of space becomes more pronounced. Galaxies drift as though sliding down the walls of a great bowl. But the bowl is not smooth. Its surface is etched with ridges, subtle patterns where dark matter has clumped over billions of years. The galaxies follow those ridges. Some flow inward in tight, graceful spirals. Others move along shallow curves, gliding gently toward the basin. Higher above the bowl, you see entire clusters tilting as they descend. Their internal motions twist slightly, as though responding to slopes too massive to comprehend. Every motion you see is a clue, a piece of evidence for the structure beneath, because dark matter cannot be seen directly. It must be traced through the way galaxies move. Each orbit is a map. Each drift is a boundary line. Each curve is a contour. You are floating inside a cosmic blueprint. Dark matter is the ink. Galactic motion is the handwriting. You drift deeper still, toward a colossal halo surrounding one of Shapley's brightest central clusters. The halo is so vast that its gravitational influence extends far beyond the visible edge of the cluster. Galaxies entering this region bend. Their paths twist softly. Their speed adjusts. The halo welcomes them as though it were a gravitational shore. From above, the effect is mesmerizing. Galaxies approach from all directions, tiny lights moving slowly through the night. But as they reach the halo, their motion changes, organizing, aligning, following the unseen geometry. It is like watching sparks fall through invisible wind. No chaos, only structure, motion, guided by something that does not glow. You drift across the halo, and the sensation deepens. Gravity here is smooth, almost velvety. A gentle pull that you don't feel as force, but as direction. Everything is moving toward the basin. The basin is not a single point. It is a wide, shallow depression shaped by layers of dark matter spread across the region. Down the slopes, galaxies flow. Some drift slowly, barely moving across the cosmic map. Others slide gracefully along sharper curves, drawn by larger masses hidden within the darkness. This landscape is older than stars, older than clusters, older than galaxies. Dark matter formed the first structures after the Big Bang, gathering into halos long before light existed. The universe is shaped today as a memory of those ancient patterns. You drift upward again, watching the galaxies flow beneath you like rivers. They twist and braid around voids. They merge and divide at gravitational junctions. Some filaments end abruptly where the dark matter dip is too shallow. Others stretch far beyond the horizon. Shapley, massive as it is just one mountain in an infinite chain. Everywhere you look, the night is alive with tiny glimmers, galaxies mapping out the invisible. The more you watch, the clearer the truth becomes. The universe is not defined by the light it emits, but by the gravity that holds it together. Dark matter is not a mystery. It is a canvas, and everything bright is painted on top of it. You let yourself drift in silence, feeling the vast weight of this understanding. There is no noise here, no urgency, no turbulence, just slow, ancient motion, like time breathing. The galaxies continue their gentle descent into the gravitational field. You drift now through one of the deepest, quietest regions within the Shapley supercluster, a place where space feels thick, almost warm with the ancient gravitational memory. Nothing here shines brightly, nothing erupts, nothing announces itself. This part of the universe does not speak with the language of light, but with the language of motion. You hover above a region where several dark matter halos merge into one another, massive invisible continents overlapping in smooth, silent folds. Here, gravity is not simply a pull, it is a shape. You can feel the curvature around you, a soft, continuous slope that extends in all directions like a landscape carved into the fabric of space-time. And along this invisible terrain, the galaxies move. They move slowly, they move gently, but they move with purpose. Each galaxy is like a tiny boat floating along a current it cannot see, yet instinctively follows. You glide beside a luminous spiral galaxy, its arms turning in a patient, unhurried rhythm. It is drifting toward a deeper fold in the dark matter map. Its stars will continue orbiting for billions of years, but the galaxy as a whole is sliding toward a distant future shaped by gravity alone. You move past it and see others, elliptical galaxies, dwarf galaxies, strange elongated shapes formed by tidal forces long forgotten. All of them, without exception, follow the same invisible guide. Gravity is not forcing them, it is welcoming them. The universe is not a prison, it is a flow. As you drift deeper, you notice how the dark matter halos are not arranged randomly. They form chains and clusters, overlapping regions and soft depressions, a pattern so intricate that it resembles a living organism. The cosmic web is not rigid, it breathes. Voids expand slowly, softly, as galaxies drift away. Filaments tighten as matter settles within them. Clusters merge in cosmic slow motion, their halos blending into larger wells of gravity. You glide into a region where two massive halos are in the process of merging. There is no crash, no explosion, no violence, only gravity, stretching, pulling, realigning space over hundreds of millions of years. The galaxies inside the halos respond gently, adjusting their paths, drifting into new orbits as though receiving a new set of instructions from the universe itself. In this moment, you begin to understand something deeper, something profoundly calming. The universe does not hurry. The universe does not rush. Everything moves at exactly the pace it was meant to. Even on scales too large to imagine, the cosmos works in slow, patient rhythms. You drift past the merging halos and into a more open region, a wide gravitational plane where the density of dark matter is lower. Here the galaxies move more freely, their motions are not tightly bounded by a single massive structure. Instead, they respond to the collective pull of many distant regions: Shapley's deep core, the Great Attractors Basin, the Hydra Centaurus structures, even far-off superclusters that lie beyond the horizon. Gravity connects everything. It always has. It always will. You float in the middle of this gravitational intersection, feeling the quiet unity of the cosmos. There is no chaos here, no randomness, no confusion, only patterns, only flow, only motion guided by the underlying shape of the dark matter web. The galaxies behave like water droplets on a smooth surface, each finding the path of least resistance, each drifting toward a deeper valley, each responding to the curvature of space. You glide upward, taking in a wider view. From this vantage point, the cosmic web appears as an enormous tapestry, bright clusters woven into glowing knots, filaments stretching between them like delicate threads, voids opening like soft black windows between the structures. It is beautiful in a way that cannot be contained by any image or any description, because what you see is not just matter, it is motion. You realize that galaxies are not static objects hung in space. They are travelers, moving along paths written billions of years ago, and the path weaves through dark matter like a river through stone. You drift along one filament, watching the galaxies glide with slow, graceful arcs. Each one is a complete world, stars, planets, nebulae, civilizations perhaps, all carried along by forces older than time itself. And then you reach a point where the filament splits. One branch slopes toward Shapley's core, the other extends into the Hydra Centaurus region, a third bleeds into a widening void. The galaxies choose their path not by will but by gravity. Yet each path is part of the same story. The universe is always moving toward balance, toward equilibrium, toward harmony on scales beyond comprehension. You drift gently along the branch, leading back toward Shapley, but now you see the region with new clarity. It isn't just a mountain of mass, it's a node, a junction point in the cosmic web where gravity collects, focuses, and redistributes motion throughout this sector of the universe. Some galaxies will fall deeper, some will orbit the outskirts, some will drift past into another flow entirely, but all of them move with purpose, all of them follow the architecture laid down by dark matter. You rise slowly above the region, and at last, the entire structure unfolds beneath you. A vast spiderweb woven from invisible mass, galaxies scattered like pearls along its strands, clusters glowing at the intersections, voids opening like breath between the threads. This is the hidden shape behind everything. The great scaffold of the cosmos, the silent map that galaxies follow. The reason your own Milky Way is drifting at unimaginable speed, and yet there is no fear in this motion, no danger, no collapse, only flow, only harmony, only the gentle, eternal guidance of gravity and mass and time. You drift one last time over the glowing structures, watching the universe move like a calm, endless river. And as the galaxies continue their descent into deeper gravitational valleys, you breathe slowly, settling into the cosmic quiet. You float now beyond the densest heart of Shapley, outward into a region where space begins to stretch again, open, wide and softly illuminated by the faint glow of galaxies drifting at unimaginable distances. It feels like emerging from a valley into a vast plateau, the gravitational terrain flattening beneath you, even as the motion of the universe continues in every direction. Here, the cosmic web appears more delicate, its filaments thinner, its knots less pronounced, its clusters spaced like quiet islands in a deep boundless sea. But even in this openness there is motion, slow, ancient, purposeful motion. Galaxies slide through space like petals drifting on a gentle stream. You watch them move with a rhythm so calm and so patient that it feels as though time itself is relaxing. Their paths curve almost imperceptibly, each one influenced by gravity from all sides, the pull of Shapley behind them, the soft draw of other superclusters far beyond the horizon, the subtle stretching from the expansion of the universe itself. Every galaxy is balancing these forces, falling inward toward mass, drifting outward with cosmic expansion, curving with the geometry of the dark matter web. You drift beside one spiral galaxy now. Its arms glow softly, blue stars on the edges, golden stars in the center, a shimmering disk turning with infinite patience. It feels alive. Not alive like a creature, but alive like a rhythm, a breath, a heartbeat that has existed long before humans ever looked to the night sky. The galaxy moves, but slowly, so slowly that if you watched it for 1,000,000 years, you might see only the gentlest shift. Yet this motion is its destiny. It is drifting toward a distant gravitational basin, one carved not by Shapley, but by another supercluster far beyond current vision. You drift upward, taking in thousands of such galaxies, each following a path millions of years long. Their movement is not random, it is a flow, a cosmic current, subtle, silent, shaping the evolution of the universe. As you glide deeper into this open region, you begin to sense the push and pull of competing influences. Behind you, Shapley's mass creates a slight backward slope. In front of you, another gravitational region tugs softly, barely perceptible but certainly present. To your left, a void expands, an enormous emptiness growing slowly as matter drifts outward. This expansion creates a gentle nudge, as though space is encouraging galaxies to move away. To your right, a filament stretches, thin, glowing, a quiet highway connecting clusters across hundreds of millions of light years. You hover in the middle of all these forces, feeling them blend. Gravity pulls, expansion pushes, dark matter shapes, galaxies respond. This is the cosmic dance, the eternal balancing act that decides the fate of everything. You drift closer to the filament on your right. It extends like a bridge of starlight over a dark ocean. Galaxies line its spine, each one moving in gentle unison. None stray far, none move abruptly. All follow the slow descent toward the next cluster. You travel along it, feeling how the filament thickens as more dark matter gathers in its core. This region feels structured but not confined, determined but not rigid, a natural path shaped by mass, followed by light. The galaxies here seem to communicate in their motion, each responding to the gravitational whisper of the others. Clusters ahead grow brighter as you approach. Their halos begin to overlap, their gravity combining into a deeper fold in space-time. But this cluster is not as massive as Shapley. It does not dominate, it participates. It is one lantern in a long cosmic chain. You drift through it, feeling the orbits of its galaxies, loops carved over billions of years. Some galaxies are merging, their shapes distorted in slow ethereal spirals. Others are untouched, gliding silently like ancient spirits through the dark. No violence, no chaos, only the slow unfolding of cosmic evolution. You rise above the cluster and look outward. The universe expands around you, not violently, not explosively, but with a quiet breath that never ends. Every galaxy is carried by this expansion, not like debris from an explosion, but like a pattern woven into fabric that keeps stretching. Even the deepest gravitational wells cannot fully counter it. Shapley pulls, neighbouring superclusters pull, dark matter weaves, but the expansion continues, slow, persistent, calm. You drift outward into a region where the influence of gravity and the stretching of space begin to balance. It is peaceful here, open, still. Galaxies float with barely any curvature in their paths. Their dances are slower, their orbits more gentle. Here, motion becomes meditation. You watch as their faint light drifts across an endless distance. They seem like dreams, soft, fragile, but eternal in their quiet beauty. This region is where galaxies rest between the poles, where forces cancel, where motion approaches stillness without ever stopping. It is the closest the universe ever comes to silence. And as you hover there, seeing thousands of galaxies rest in slow drift, you realize something comforting. The universe does not fall. It flows. Everything is guided gently by forces that have existed since before time began. Gravity does not shout. Dark matter does not command. Expansion does not push roughly. All are quiet. All are patient. All work together to create a universe that moves like a single, living organism. You float in this quiet region as the galaxies continue their drift, feeling yourself become part of the stillness. Part 5 continues with the fate of these motions and what they reveal about the future of the universe itself. You drift now beyond the calm, balanced region where gravitational pulls and cosmic expansion briefly feel equal. A quiet plateau in the flowing landscape of space. Ahead of you, the universe widens again. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but gently, softly, like a horizon stretching just a little further with each passing moment. The galaxies here begin to look different. Not because of their shapes, but because of their spacing. They are farther apart, not dramatically but noticeably. Space itself is opening between them. You watch as a pair of galaxies slowly drift away from a third, not due to gravity, but due to something more fundamental, the expansion of the universe. It is subtle at these distances. It is patient. It has no sound, no texture, no colour, but it is everywhere. A quiet stretching, invisible but relentless. This expansion does not erase gravity, but it competes with it. You drift beside a wandering group of galaxies, moving together as though connected by a weak gravitational bond. They have been companions for billions of years. They orbit a common centre, dancing in a slow, elegant pattern. But beyond their edges, space expands faster than their combined gravity can hold. The group will remain together, but everything outside of it will drift farther and farther away. This is the destiny of many small clusters, to remain internally connected but isolated from the larger cosmos. You glide upward, taking in an enormous view of galaxies arranged like scattered jewels across a velvet canvas. Some form tight, intimate gatherings, others drift alone, small islands on a slowly stretching sea. You follow the soft gravitational descent into another filament, thin, glowing faintly, a cosmic trail of ancient starlight. Within it, galaxies still move together, still respond to the pull of distant superclusters. But even here, the expansion of space makes its quiet presence known. Over hundreds of millions of years, the filament itself is slowly thinning. Its galaxies are drifting apart, not violently, not sharply, but inevitably. The cosmic web is not collapsing, it is relaxing. You drift along the filament, feeling its gentle narrowing beneath you. Galaxies move like fireflies caught in a soft breeze, not fast enough to tear apart from their neighbours, but just fast enough to drift slightly farther with each passing epoch. This is the universe's slow exhale. Gravity pulls inward, expansion pulls outward. Between them lies the story of the universe's future. You glide into a small cluster of galaxies, a quiet gathering of spirals, ellipticals, and dimmer dwarfs. Their motion is different here, more circular, more contained. This cluster has enough mass to hold itself together. No matter how quickly the universe expands, these galaxies will remain bound. They are a family, a permanent one. Even trillions of years into the future, they will orbit, merge, and reshape themselves, long after the rest of the cosmos has drifted far beyond reach. You drift over them like a silent observer, feeling the gravity weave between them like invisible threads. Then you rise again into a more open region, a place where galaxies are truly beginning to slip beyond one another's reach. Here, the expansion of space is unmistakable. Two galaxies that once drifted close are now separating at a rate no force between them can counter. They stretch away like two small boats moving on tides they cannot feel. The darkness between them grows wider, not because they are moving through it, but because the darkness itself is growing. Space is expanding between them. You hover there, watching the distance widen slowly, patiently, inevitably. It is not sad, not frightening, not dramatic. It is simply the natural rhythm of the cosmos, a rhythm that has been unfolding since the first moments of the universe, a rhythm that will continue long after the galaxies have faded. You drift onward, feeling the contrast between the gravitational clusters and the open expanding voids. It is here, in this in-between space, that the destiny of motion becomes clear. Where gravity is strong, galaxies gather. Where gravity is weak, they drift apart. And on the largest scales, the expansion of the universe wins, not through force, not through violence, through patience, an unstoppable stretching of the cosmic fabric that grows stronger over time. You glide into a region where the expansion feels more pronounced. Voids become enormous, spherical hollows in the cosmic web. Galaxies lie only along the edges, as though the void is pushing them outward. But the void is not pushing. It is simply an absence of mass. Gravity pulls everything outward from the emptiness. An expansion stretches it further. You drift at the edge of a vast void larger than anything you have seen so far. Its interior is nearly empty, a soft darkness with almost no stars inside. This void is expanding faster than the regions around it, not because it has power, but because it does not. Where there is little matter, nothing slows expansion. The void grows, softly, quietly, carving deeper hollows between the filaments. You feel as though you are floating at the bottom of an enormous breath. Galaxies around the edges curve slightly away, their motion responding to the expansion that gently pulls them outward. This widening is the universe's future, not chaos, not collapse, a gentle drifting toward isolation. Clusters will remain, filaments will thin, voids will grow, light will spread across greater distances, until eventually only local groups, small islands of galaxies, will remain gravitationally bound. Beyond that, the universe will become quiet, not empty, not dead, just vast. A place where motion slows and galaxies age in calm isolation. You drift away from the void, back into a region where galaxies still mingle with comforting closeness. The contrast is beautiful. The universe is not one thing. It is a mosaic. Dense regions, empty regions, slow regions, fast regions, all balanced by invisible forces. And in this balance, the fate of motion is written. Everything flows from gravity's embrace and expansion's release. You watch as a bright elliptical galaxy passes beneath you, moving steadily along its path. It has travelled for billions of years. It will travel for billions more. Its fate is not to collide with distant strangers across the cosmic web. Its fate is to join its local cluster, to merge slowly with its neighbours, and to remain bound to the region of mass that once shaped it. You drift upward into a quieter region, and for a moment the entire flow of the universe feels still. Not because it has stopped,